Text Maker is an amazing Canva app for text with so many design options to choose from. There are tons of presets, but they all use the same basic settings. In this video, we will create a text together and go through every effect setting step by step.
First, I will go to the Apps tab and search for Text Maker. As you already know, this app has plenty of options and presets to choose from. This is a strong text app, maybe the most incredible text app there is in Canva. You can really get lost in here because of the many options available. Of course, you can use the search bar to find what you want, but in my opinion, it's not that useful because I don't know how they categorize each text or which keywords will find each preset. So usually I use the categories. These are pre-made categories in this app, and I'm sure they can help you better than searching manually. I will click on the comic category. As you can see, there are also plenty of options here to choose from. Everything is super customizable and you can basically change it to whatever you need. I'll show you this in a moment, but before that, it's important to mention that some of the text presets required premium account for the Text Maker app. To be honest, I don't have the premium account and I haven't found it necessary yet because there are already plenty of options and I struggle to choose from them anyway. Let's start with this blue preset here. I will click on it. When you open this preset, the first thing you will see is a preview of the text you are creating. You can change the text to whatever you need. As mentioned here, it will look best if the text is 35 characters or less. I will type in the word hello with all the letters in uppercase. Of course, you can also change the font here, but it's important to mention that the font list doesn't include all the fonts available in Canva. It's a pretty limited list. You can use the categories at the top or search manually for a specific font. However, I struggled with picking fonts here, so I recommend sticking with the font of the preset. Don't change it because it will look so different and I'm not sure it's worth it. I would pick the preset based on its fonts and avoid going to the journey of finding the perfect font. You can also change the text alignment if you have more than one word, the line height if you have multiple lines, and the letter spacing. Let me show you. I'll adjust the letter spacing here, but I'll reset it to 0 because I liked how it looked by default. Now to the interesting part, effects. The effects here reflect on different parts of the text. Effects that are already applied have these little purple dots on them, so you will know they are active. Okay, now I'll go over each effect and explain everything you need to know about it. I won't start from the first one here. Let me show you the easiest and simplest ones to understand first, and then we will go to the more complicated ones. Let's click on the Jiggle effect. Here you can change the angle of the letters. In my case, I don't want the letters angled, so I will set it to 0. You can also play with the amplitude of the letters. I don't want this either, so I'll set it to 0 as well. You can disable this effect entirely by toggling it off right here. As you can see, the Jiggle effect no longer has the purple dot because it's disabled. Now let's keep the shadow and 3D effect for now, and I'll show you the filling effect. You can choose to change the filling to a gradient if you want more than one color inside the text. I don't want that, so I will disable it for now. You can also change the solid color to any color you want or lower the transparency if needed. Another cool thing you can do here is click on Image and enable Image Texture to upload an image as the filling of the text instead of the color. I'll add this pattern just to show you an example. It's so cool in my opinion. Of course, you can work more on this preset and remove the inner shadow to make it look better, but that's not what I'm doing today, so I'll disable this for now, just so you know this option exists and you have it here. Let's change the color to orange-yellow. I'll leave the transparency at 100% and go back to the other effects. After exploring the filling effect, let's click on the outline effect. Alright, there are many options here. You can of course disable the outline if you don't want it. For this example, I want to keep the outline effect. You can adjust how strong the effect is by clicking on the plus and minus buttons. I'll also show you how to make the outline less strict by softening the edges. It gives the text a completely different look. You can also adjust the transparency of the outline. Here you can use a gradient instead of a solid color if you want, and you can change the color of the outline. I'll change it to red so you can see how it looks, but I'll set it back to black because that's what I need for this example. You can also add multiple layers of outlines if needed, but I don't need that today, so I'll disable it and move on to the other effects. Now let's click on the shadow effect. There are two types of shadows in this preset: inner shadow and outer shadow. Inner shadow, this is basically the white lines inside the text. You can change the color of the inner shadow, but I'll keep it white for this example. You can also adjust the transparency, strength, angle, and distance. For example, increasing the strength, make the shadow bolder, while changing the angle, adjust the direction. I'll set the angle to -35 because I like it that way. If the distance is set to 0, you won't see the effect at all. You can disable the inner shadow if you don't want it, and you can even add another inner shadow to create a double layered effect. I'll cancel that for now, and let's move on to the outer shadow. This is the black shadow below the text. It has the same settings as the inner shadow. I'll change the angle and set the color to red. Then I'll add another outer shadow. By default, the second shadow appears blurry, like a glow effect. I'll adjust the distance and change the color to a light blue for depth. Now let's move on to the 3D effect. This effect appears at the top of the text. By default, it's in gradient mode, but the two dots don't blend. If you drag them closer together, they will blend smoothly. You can add more stops to the gradient if you want. However, I don't need this effect, so I'll disable it and stick with a solid color. Once I'm done, I'll click on Add to Design. If you're using the free version, you can only choose medium or low quality. I'll stick with medium for now. I'll then rotate and resize the text slightly and add a second text. And I want to add the other text, which is 2025. I will just click on Back, and I won't change anything, just the text itself. Again, I need to click on Add to Design. But before that, I just want to show you what happens if I click on Customize Colors. You will see all the effects you've applied and how the colors are categorized by the effect. It pulls the colors directly from your design and group them based on the effect. As you can see, the white color is the inner shadow. The two other colors are the two layers of outer shadow I created. The black color is the outline effect, and the yellow is the fill color. So if you want to change the colors after finishing all the effects, you can just click on Customize Colors and adjust them here. Now I will add the text to my design, rotate it as well, and make it bigger. Alright, I'll just change the color of the second text to match the blue I used for the outer shadow. Finally, I'll add these little sparks to complete the design. And that's it for this text. Let me show you just how it looked at the beginning in the preset and how we change it to what it is now. And that's a wrap for this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to take your Canva text design to the next level, check out the next video. See you there!